Hello again. I'm just going to ask you a question. Do you believe that you came from goo, then to the zoo, then to you? That's simply not true, and I'm going to try and prove that to you. It's a little-known fact that what you believe determines how you act. And if you believe that you came from a monkey, doesn't that give you permission to act like one too? It wasn't very many years ago that the Ten Commandments could be found in virtually every single school in America. And now, you won't find them anywhere. Why is that? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because people do not want to be held accountable to their creator, and they'd rather believe that they came from monkeys and can act like animals. And that's why you have kids shooting up their schools, and you have kids doing drugs, and the whole society is falling apart because everyone believes that they came from monkeys, which came from earthworms, which came from slime. Some people believe that Charles Darwin started the theory of evolution. Actually, it was Satan in the Garden of Eden. The serpent came to the woman and said, "For God knows that when you eat of it, the forbidden tree, that your eyes will be opened and you will be like God." It was Satan who wanted to be God, but since he couldn't have the job, he offered the job to Eve. He was in no authority or position to offer the job, but Satan's a liar, so Satan told Eve that she could be like God. And that's what people believe today. They believe they started as an earthworm, and that earthworm, or the first single-celled organism, evolved into a fish or some amoeba or something, and that turned into monkeys eventually, and that turned into humans, and we're evolving and getting stronger and bigger and better. And it's Satanism. Evolutionists have the severe misfortune of believing that they are related to every other form of life on the planet. So, we're going to do a little mental exercise and see if you can figure this out. Because evolution is a lie, they need to back it up with likewise lies. Adolf Hitler once said, "Let me control the textbooks and I will control the state." Alright, let's get a bit more technical. I'm now reading from a textbook, and it says, "Many organisms retain traces of their evolutionary history. For example, the whale retains pelvic and leg bones as useless vestiges." You can see those, the pelvis and the femur. Okay, so if you go to your high school and you find an evolutionary textbook, you'll still find this. They're claiming that whales evolved legs and became cows. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard, but let's take this a little further. Those bones, the pelvis and the femur, are actually part of their sexual organs, and if they did not have those bones, they would not be able to create baby whales. So to claim they're vestigial is a lie. Evolutionists will claim that they can use the fossil record to determine what evolved from what. Allow me to demonstrate what an evolutionist would claim to be a successful diagram in showing the evolution of a horse. Okay, now allow me to show you the evolution of cutlery. Here you have what can be considered the evolutionary history of cutlery. As you can see, the knife slowly evolved into a spoon over billions of years, then into a spork, and then into a fork. This process took a very long time. I would consider one of the biggest problems with evolution to be the fact that it discredits the intelligent creator in favor of blind chance. I'd ask you, how can blind chance create a seeing eye? Even if you want to go with that and say it just happened, here's the problem. If you believe that you were unintelligently designed, that there was no intelligent hand in your creation, then that means you are a biological machine, a slave to chemical reactions in your brain, which means you can't trust your thoughts. So, if you can't trust your thoughts, how in the world can you claim that what you know is truth? How can you believe in evolution and still claim that your belief is completely founded in reality, when in fact you can't trust your own thoughts? The only alternative is you were created intelligently, and that discredits the whole evolutionary theory. Some people might say that maybe God used evolution to get us here. Well, that's not the God of the Bible, because the God of the Bible says that death came by man's sin. However, evolution says man came by death. Quite opposites. There's a stark contrast between the two, and only one is right, because they are diametrically opposites. In fact, that's proof in the Bible's favor, because if you take it at face value, it is a literal opposite of evolution in every way. In fact, you could come to the theory of evolution by simply looking at what the Bible says and then flipping it on its head. Allow me to give you some examples. I gave you the example that Genesis, which is the first book in the Bible, claims that man brought death into the world by sin, that nothing died until Adam sinned. Evolution claims that death brought man into the world, that no humans existed until millions or billions of years passed, and many creatures lived and died before mankind arrived. This is directly opposed to the Genesis account. Genesis also claims that man started smart, tall, and in direct contact with God. We're finding 12 to 16 to 50-foot man skeletons, bigger than any man alive today. Evolution claims that man started stupid, short, with no God involved. Genesis claims mankind has absolute standards and rules to live by. Evolution claims that we came from the animal kingdom and that we can live and act like animals. Evolution is a lie from Satan. It is a perversion of the truth twisted directly backwards, and people believe it. Do you guys remember the story of Noah's Ark? God flooded the world for some reason. Let's find out why. Genesis chapter 6 verse 4 says, "There were giants," the Hebrew Bible says Nephilim, "in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God, which are fallen angels, also called demons, came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. The same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown." So, the demon children were giants. So, God flooded the world to kill them. If God flooded the world, these giants should have probably fossilized, being buried under the mud. So, we should be able to find giant skeletons, shouldn't we? And we are. You know, I've done a lot of talking about things such as demons and Satan, and they can be pretty scary, but some people pass them off as fairy tales. Yes, I admit, modern-day media has made a mockery of such things, treating them lightly as if they're nothing more than cartoon characters, which I believe is part of Satan's deception so that we don't take this seriously. So, allow me to show you a reason to take it seriously. I'm now going to open a program called Google Earth. Perhaps some of you have heard of it. It is a satellite scan of the entire globe, and you can pretty much pinpoint your house on this program. But I'm not going to find my house, I'm going to find the White House. Hold on a second. White House. Okay, we're now going to Washington, D.C. Okay, so it says White House right over there. You see it? If you want me to zoom in more so you can see it quite clearly, you know I'm not lying to you. That is the White House. Okay? So, tell me if you notice anything. Do you see it? Something pointing south? Let me go in for a closer look. Anything? Anything at all? Now, if that doesn't concern you, if you've just passed that off as a small coincidence, tell me, how is it the most important building in the entire world is at the bottom of a giant Satan pentagram? The God of the Bible says that Satan is the ruler of this world. So, it is no small coincidence that the world's governmental superpower, the United States of America, has its headquarters at the world's largest Satan pentagram. Indeed. The children of today are the future of tomorrow, and if they're being taught that they came from monkeys, expect this world to go to the zoo.